Okay, we should be recording now. Okay, so this is the urban review. We're going to go through some questions. Let's start with this, matching traits to certain cities, okay? At top, what I've got for this one is let's say a European city. There is no European city model. Latin American city model, Southeast Asian city model, African city, a city in Japan, multiple nuclei, the galactic model, which is also the peripheral model, and the urban realms model. Those are the models that are on here. So, poor live on the edge of the city. That's not going to be America, right? We tend to think of the suburbs as developing the outside of the city. On the outside of the city, at the edge of it, France would have poor. So would Latin America, so would Africa, so would Southeast Asia, right? Market gardens. Which models have market gardens today? All the emerging city ones. So Africa definitely, but in particular, the Southeast Asian city really mentions it. But in Latin America even, they mention the idea of a market at the center. The big one though is the Southeast Asian city model. Okay, gentrification is mentioned specifically in the Latin American model. You could find it in a number of these that it's happening, but the big one that mentions it specifically is the Latin American city model. Factory jobs, Burgess concentric zone, sector model, multiple nuclei, Latin American city model, Southeast Asian city model, and even the African city model mention factories, okay? Central business district, which model, next time we get there on time, which model mentions is the only model that does not have a central business district at all? Does anyone remember which model does not have one? Okay, we're trying to run through this, guys. So the one that does not have one would be, yes, Southeast Asian city model does not have a CBD at all. Reflects a large middle class. Okay, Japan would have a large middle class, okay? Any of the more developed country models would have a large middle class. Even the ones creating suburbs that goes along with the idea of a large middle class, right? All the suburban growth reflects a large middle class. So the suburban models would also reflect that. The African city model? No, definitely not, right? Even the Burgess model and the concentric and the sector model also have a middle class. Okay, primary sector activities. Only one model has primary sector activities in it. African city model mentions mining. It's the only one that does. Two commercial zones. One is an alien commercial zone, and the other one is the Western commercial zone. Yeah, Southeast Asian city. Less likely to have skyscrapers in the CBD. European, right? European countries, because of history, aren't necessarily going to have skyscrapers all the time. Maybe you could argue an African city would not have as many. But that's a lot of that's historical. Like they can't just tear down the center of town and get rid of a lot of history to build up skyscrapers. So some European cities do not have them. Edge cities. Which model specifically is based off the idea of edge cities? Urban realms. Not those other ones. The textbooks sometimes get that wrong. Okay, now give me 1 second here. I'm going to get one more blank here. All right, then going through the rest of this. Rural to urban migration has a significant effect on the city. Guys, that is definitely going to be all of those emerging city models. Largest wealth disparity within the urban area. The emerging city models, definitely, right? Those would have the biggest wealth disparity. In particular, the stage 3 ones. Because the stage 3 ones, like Southeast Asia and Latin America, have an insane amount of wealth and poverty, right? Whereas Africa doesn't have an insane amount of wealth, they're more likely to have more poverty and a bit of a middle class, maybe a bit of wealth. So the biggest disparity might be in the threes, meaning countries that are in stage three. Wealthy live near the CBD. Okay, in Europe they live near the CBD, Japan, Southeast Asia a bit as well, Latin America, they live there as well and they go out from there. The one where they don't is in general some of the earlier North American ones, right? Where the wealth was moving to the outside of the city where the suburbs were. Okay, so I might rephrase that a little bit, but basically that's the idea. Reflects the idea that the city has a large manufacturing base or a large amount of factories. We kind of already did that. Southeast Asia city definitely really emphasizes that the most. Least likely to allow building housing or urban, no, least likely to allow a building up of housing or urban areas outside the city. Europe. Your particular guys, United Kingdom, because United Kingdom has green belts. They restrict that, okay? Reflects the specialized activities that were taken over by the suburbs as the CBD declined. The big thing for that would definitely be an edge city. Although the peripheral model, those centers of activities perhaps as well, but edge city is the big one. Reflects, because the edge city kind of takes over this as a CBD in a way. Reflects the wealth of stage three and the poverty of stage three. That would have to be Latin American city model, Southeast Asian city model. Okay? Okay. This one is based off of all the earlier models. Factories are our main source of job. That's true for concentric zone, sector, and multiple nuclei. Suburb that has more offices and bedrooms, edge city. Density declines as you get to the CBD. That's just about all of them. The density goes down as you get into the office area. Sprawl, all the suburban ones. So, in particular, galactic and urban realms, although you could include multiple nuclei. Trains are our main form of transportation. Sector model really gets into that. Highways would be the later ones, particularly the peripheral really mentions highways. Although urban realms, edge cities built up along highways. So urban realms and peripheral are for highways. Decentralization, multiple nuclei, peripheral, urban realms. Fails to take into account major transportation lines. Concentric zone, and also von Thunen. Both fail to take that in. By the way, concentric zone and von Thunen are also the bid rent models. Large drop in density when you leave the city. Von Thunen, Burgess concentric zone, although I would just say mainly Burgess concentric zone and sector model are the biggest ones where there's a drop in density. Shopping is largely done in the CBD, again, concentric zone, sector. Factories are more likely to locate themselves outside of the city. That may not be a great one, but that would definitely be going from the multiple nuclei later, meaning that one, galactic, urban realms. But mainly, yes, those ones would be when that starts to happen. Great migration and white flight, I'm going to skip that one. I don't like that one. City is isolated. Concentric zone, von Thunen, sector, but then the later ones incorporate suburbs, so the city is no longer isolated. Airports can only be multiple nuclei and later, because it didn't exist earlier. Bid rent theory, von Thunen concentric zone. Chicago, concentric zone, sector, multiple nuclei. Okay, universities, airports, industrial suburbs are separate little areas. That would be multiple nuclei and peripheral and urban realms. It starts with the multiple nuclei though. Okay, build up of more important suburbs that are at the intersection of highways. That's edge cities, so that's urban realms. Commuter versus freight trains create the largest difference in land values. Sector model. People of the same background will tend to live near each other. Okay, that one goes along with the multiple nuclei, probably more so than some of the others, but I could see you emphasizing that even with the later models. Land uses commonly found in the central business district are rare elsewhere. That can only be the early models. So sector and concentric zone. Because what happens later on, in all of the later models, the CBD matters less. By the time you get to edge cities and urban realms, the CBD matters a lot less because now edge cities are doing things that the CBD used to do, right? In the earliest models, only like the Burgess concentric zone and White sector, only the CBD did certain tasks. Okay, flattening of the density gradient, where the city, like it used to be, guys, please, I'm gonna throw someone out. It used to be you had cities and then a big drop in population. With the cities declining a little bit and suburbs growing, that's what flattening out is. Peripheral, multiple nuclei, even urban realms go along with that consistently. The idea of flattening it out. Although I think it's mentioned really specifically with peripheral, but it's fine for all those. Leapfrogging, that's all the suburban models. Every single model that mentions suburbs, leapfrogging would be a part of it. CBD is highly important, only the early models. Concentric zone sector. Okay, which is true of an edge city? It's located at the edge of a lake? Hell no. It's increasingly used for heavy industry? We're not getting those jobs back, no. It's close to bankruptcy? No. It has more jobs than bedrooms? Yes. It attracts more people there during the day, and then they leave at night. It's an area of attraction, bringing people in. Central place theory, what does it describe? I'll go from the bottom up. Tendency of wealth to concentrate in urban areas? No. Outward radiation of culture? No. Tendency of civilizations to farm around certain natural features? Hell no. Tendency of different ethnic groups? No. Spatial pattern of central and outlying areas based on goods and services. Central place theory is about the location of services and the central places that have those services. Okay? Gentrification makes permanent a city's ethnic patterns? No, nothing does that. Allows lower income families to remain in their homes? Nope, nothing does that. Occurs because low income families are no longer attracted to deteriorating housing? That doesn't even make sense. All of the above, definitely none of the above. And by the way, the real definition of gentrification is the idea that it's kind of basically the idea that an area changing, becoming wealthier, and in particular, wealthier people are attracted to the area, increasing the values of properties and making it more difficult for the local residents who have been there to stay in the area as properties change in value and rents go up and apartment buildings change to condo buildings. That's a closer definition of what gentrification is. But in this case, for number 59, none of the above is correct. 53, in US cities, the underclass has been, okay, unlike just about all the other ones, unlike just about any other city model in the world, here in America, from the 1950s till fairly recently, the poor have been more likely to be in the inner city neighborhoods. We talked about inversion and how that's changing things in the last few years. Okay, compared to the United Kingdom, that's the country that has green belts. They have much less sprawl. Number 55, a change in the density gradient over the last half century has been, we already mentioned this. The city's gotten a little bit less dense, the suburbs have increased in numbers, there used to be nothing out there but farmland, and so it's been a flattening, a reduction in the difference. 49, 50, 51, what technical development has allowed back office services to relocate in LDCs? Telecommunication, internet, that kind of stuff. And usually that's, by the way, back office activities are usually basic functions like transcription. The area of a city where retail and offices have historically been located was clustered in, historically, the central business district. Historically, now, maybe I'll put years in it. In the early 1900s, maybe that's a better way of saying it, it was all in the CBD. Compare the United States, poor family in European cities are more likely to be, by the way, maybe I'll make that France, on the edge, in projects. Maybe I'll make it like that too. I'll put it in the idea that it's project buildings, which helps to segregate them because project buildings are tall and condense people. Okay, LDCs specialize in what two types of business services? It's going to be basic tasks, right? That can be outsourced. So it's definitely not medical research. It's not command and control. It's not managing. It's not entertainment. It's basic offshore financial and what we call back office activities. Basic transcription, easy stuff. Financial stuff to hide money. And Panama and the Cayman Islands are the big areas for that. By the way, I'm mentioning these extra things because I can change the question, guys. Two major benefits many LDCs offer in financial services are, one, you can hide your money, privacy, and yeah, they charge low wages for stuff. Or low taxes and privacy, that's it, letter A. The big thing is low taxes and privacy. You don't want to pay taxes. 48, what factors determine where back office and services will locate in LDCs? Tax advantages and secrecy laws. That's 48 and 47 are very similar to each other. So letter E, it's very similar to the answer for 47. 43, why is the absence of rank size? Okay guys, this is a good one. What is, you have to ask yourself for number 43, what is the most significant? A and B are both true, but B is kind of false though, because it says the capital city, what if I were to say must be a primate city, or I say always is a primate city. If you don't have rank size rule, then it has to be a primate city. Actually, that is kind of true. If you don't follow a rank size rule, then it probably very highly likely is a primate city. I don't know about that word always though. Whenever you see always or never, that's kind of not a good term. Consumers do not have access to goods and services. Letter A is definitely the most solid answer. If I were to say the capital city is most likely a primate city, then both A and B. Attracting a basic industry. Okay, guys. Basic industries bring in money from outside. So, basic industries, why do you want them? Stimulates new non-basic. Yeah, stimulates new non-basic is probably the best answer because you're bringing in outside money. And that outside money allows you to stimulate your economy even more, okay? All right, that's a tough one. Everyone understands what I'm talking about with that? By taking in money from outside, it's gonna help the internal economy because now you're bringing in more money to the area. 45, world cities are defined by the number and types of, I'm gonna go over this tomorrow with you guys, what a world city is. The biggest thing with world cities is what they do, so letter A. 36, we're down here guys, I'm actually getting really quick here. According to the gravity model, the potential, all right, gravity model for cities means that a big important city attracts in a lot of people for services. So according to this, the use of a service is related to how big you are and how close people are. So directly to population, inversely to distance, meaning the further out, less interaction. So I believe letter A is the correct answer here. Yeah. So directly to population, the bigger it is, the more services. Inversely to distance from people, meaning the further away you are, the bigger the distance gets, the less interaction. So that's inverse. All right, 37. Market areas would be a circle, except when they overlap, you draw lines. So market areas become hexagons. Central place theory predicts how many big cities do we have in America? Fewer or more numerous? Do we have a lot of big cities in America or just a few? Do we have more suburbs than cities? Yes. So larger settlements are less numerous. Oh, but big cities should be far apart from each other according to central place theory. Letter C, less numerous and further apart. Okay, we really chucked through this. I didn't want to do a whole big 20-minute thing again, so or a big 40-minute thing again. So I managed to keep it to 20. All right, guys.